Boys and gals, welcome back to another live stream. I think we're actually having some internet issues, so this could be an absolute shit show. Hopefully it ends up fixing itself. Let me just try and figure out what is going wrong with it. 37% dropped frames. That's not a good sign at all. I probably should do a speed test actually. Of course, of all the days for this to happen, it had to be today, didn't it? Oh yeah, what the hell? I'm on 116 ping. What the hell? Well, this might be a hella short stream, lads, I think, because I don't know how well it's gonna go. Let me just see how the upload. Oh my god, I'm getting 1 megabyte upload right now. So, yeah, this may not fix itself. I'm gonna quickly see if I can change some settings on OBS. Is the stream looking laggy as hell for you guys watching? Because it's saying it's not going to flash on my end. Could even be the there was a big storm the other night, and I haven't really used the internet since then, to be honest. So the storm might have fucked something, and they still haven't fixed it. Maybe that's like a common occurrence here. Every time there's a big storm, yeah, internet gets fucked for like a week. So that could be it, but it didn't seem big enough to do that. It's freezed up maybe twice. That's a rip. That's a big rip. I don't know what, if anything's downloading or anything. Check Origin, no. Nothing on the Xbox. Well, the boys are saying it seems alright, so we'll stick with it. If it just ends, then just know that the internet's fucked up. So if the stream randomly ends, that would be why. But I may as well stick with it and see how it goes. I probably won't be playing anyway, to be completely honest. So hopefully the video, even if it's seeing my big old head, hopefully it's not too like stuttery and stuff. But anyway, all that aside, we are obviously going to be talking about Battlefield 2042. I was lucky enough to get a bit of an early access to the game, or not to the game, but to see the game, which was about a week ago now. I think last Thursday. What is going on here? Why am I getting messages and shit? Yeah, so last Thursday we got to see the trailer, and we saw a little bit of like gameplay related stuff as well. And so I thought I may as well do a bit of a live Q&A, because you guys in the Discord have been obviously going nuts over the trailer and stuff. And it's obviously a bit easier to answer any like questions and all that live rather than having to type it all out. So if you guys have any questions about the game in general, my thoughts on it, anything like that, then start firing away. I actually need to double check something, so I can't see the chat at the minute. And the boys have lost me apparently. Rip. No. Tell me in the chat if you can hear me. Tell me when it comes back. If it's not back soon, I might just have to honestly end the stream and try and see what the hell's going on. Let me see if it's like an area, like a regional issue, firstly. Wait, you can hear me fine, but you can't see me. What, mate? Is that, I'm assuming that's what you mean? So you can hear me, but there's nothing on your screen. What the fuck? Oh wait, you can see me. I'm beyond confused at this point. It looks like there's a big delay too. Yeah, let me just check real quick if it's a regional thing. Outages. We good after a refresh. Okay, well this might be a bit of a fucking struggle with the stream, boys, but it was gonna be short anyway. I might just honestly have to call it very short. But we'll see how we go. Alright, so yeah. Fire away with any questions you have about the game or about what you guys saw, or even just my thoughts on it or anything like that. We got about a 2-hour like live stream that we got to see, where obviously we saw the trailer, and then they went into detail about like a lot of gameplay related stuff. What the hell? How's that happening? I think that's subbed to the other channel. But either way, thank you for the sub. I think that alert is not set up properly yet, so that's actually a sub on the main channel. So yeah, we got to see about a 2-hour live stream where, like, for you guys that know Freeman, he's the community manager. He was there, sort of hosting it. And then there was like 2 or 3 devs that were kind of just going through like what we can expect from the game, going through a few things like the specialists, for example. Like they touched on the maps, they touched on the vehicles, they kind of just touched on all the like fundamental stuff over about an hour, and then after that they did a Q&A as well for about an hour where we were just firing away questions and they were pretty much answering anything they could. So that's pretty much how I was able to get a bit of early access, and hopefully that helps with, I guess, figuring out what questions you guys want to ask. Star Wars Boy, the first one, says, do you think this will be your favourite Battlefield game? It's shaping up that way, man. It's hard to say because obviously we haven't played the game and we barely even saw gameplay. Like, we did see a little bit, but it was more like, it wasn't just straight gameplay. We didn't see, say, like 10 minutes of just like straight gameplay. It was more, we saw little snippets when they were explaining the specialists, and they would show like a little almost like a little highlight reel thing where they would show a few kills from that character and what their like specialty ability was and stuff like that, or the gadget, I should say. So we did see a little bit of gameplay, but other than that, that's really all we saw. So it's hard to say whether it will be, but I do think it's shaped up to be one of my favourites, if not my favourite, just because of the setting and kind of all the changes they made seem like they genuinely sounded like, from the Q&A and stuff, they genuinely sounded like this is a game for us. It's not their own, what they want to make. It's like, this is a game, obviously they do want to make it, but Battlefield 5 seemed more like, this is a story we want to tell, and here it is. Whereas this game seems more like, we see what you guys want, we also want that, and yeah, that's what it's going to be. So it's a hard one to answer if it'll be my favourite, but I think it's shaped up to be. If the gameplay is good and stuff like that, then I think it'll be a banger. Where was I up to? Summers says, I'm wondering about the weapon setup. Can you have similar setups to Warzone, for example, an M4 and an MP5? I don't think so. Knowing Battlefield, I think it'll just be a primary and a secondary, and I don't think... I mean, Battlefield 4, for example, you could use shotguns as a secondary, so they might have that. I doubt it. I kind of feel like it'll just be like pistols and your primary weapon. They didn't actually like confirm that, so I don't actually know, but just judging by Battlefield in the past, I don't think you'll be able to have 2 primary weapons unless it is like a shotgun, for example, maybe. But yeah, I don't think it'll be quite as like free as Call of Duty, where it's like you can just, because that's the difference between Battlefield and COD in terms of like your classes and stuff. COD just lets you do whatever the fuck you want, so you can just have any perks, within reason, because you obviously can't have multiple perks from the same thing, although in Black Ops you can with the whatever they're called. What are they called? The things that... Anyway, the wild cards, that's the one. But like Battlefield is obviously more tied to like, this is the class and you've got to play your role and you can't just have like anything that you want. They did open it up a little bit with, obviously now you can use any gun in any class, so it seems they're going a little bit that way, but I don't think it'll be quite... You can have two guns. Now the plus system, which I haven't talked about yet, there's a video going up tomorrow, I believe. Twice is Love, thank you for the sub, appreciate that. Question, Twice is Love, is that a sub to this channel or to the Star Wars channel? Because I didn't think those notifications worked, but apparently they do. And Surge, thank you very much for the sub as well. Yeah, so what I was saying, Summers, with the guns, there is this thing called the plus system, which I haven't really talked on yet, and there will be a video coming up tomorrow. I've actually got to edit that today. There's a thing called the plus system where you can actually change your attachments mid-game and mid-fight. Like, you don't have to be dead to change your loadout. I don't think you can change your gun, but I think you can set up a M4, for example, for long range, but then you can also bring a bunch of attachments with you to where, if you're going into a building, you can put on a red dot sight and a shorter barrel and more ammo, for example, and then you can change your weapon to be suited to that setting rather than long range. So even though you can't have an MP5 and an M4, for example, you can have an M4 that you can kind of build multiple different ways in the same game, and you don't have to die to change that class. You don't have to sit there in a menu for ages. It's literally just you press a few buttons and it changes. So that looks really exciting. That's something I'm very keen to see. They didn't go into too much detail on it, but I think hopefully they'll show that type of stuff at the gameplay reveal on that'll be Monday for me, Sunday for you guys probably. Sage, you cheeky bastard. And then Star Wars Boy says the beard, that's how. I'll take that. Twice as Love says, I've always seen you play Star Wars, it's going to be weird seeing you play Battlefield, but still looking forward to it. Yeah, it's really weird because Battlefield is actually a game I've been playing for way longer than Battlefront. Like, I would say I've been a Star Wars fan longer than I've probably been a Star Wars fan since I was 5, and I probably started playing Battlefield when I was like 12. So I've been a Star Wars fan for longer, but I have been playing Battlefield since I was like 12, and I'm 25. So this is my favorite multiplayer franchise. So it probably will seem weird seeing me play a new game, but to me this is like my OG shooter, really. Ethan, what's going on, fella? He says, what are your thoughts on the fact that we have no campaign and still being charged more? That's a question I've seen a lot. That's something that I've actually been sort of talking back and forth with a few of the devs, and that's like their main thing that they're seeing as like negative comments, and it is fair enough that people are a bit like annoyed about that. For me personally, I've never bought Battlefield for the campaign, so I'm not bothered at all. In fact, I'm glad, because it means that they're gonna, all that time they would have spent months and months working on a campaign, and all that time is now being put into multiplayer. So that's just gonna make the game better. Like, not many people buy it for the campaign, you know what I mean? So don't get me wrong, it'd be cool to see a campaign, especially because the setting of this game, the lore behind it, which again I've got another video going up on Sunday about that. The setting of this game is fucking awesome. The lore behind it and why the war's happening and stuff is fucking amazing. So it does kind of suck that we don't get a campaign around that, but they've said that they're going to be telling the story through multiplayer. So it's not like there's no story. There is a story to it. It's just not so much like a linear single player campaign. It's more like each update, kind of like how Warzone does it. Each time there's an update, it'll like kind of add to the story a little bit. So personally, I'm fine with it, but I do see why people are a little bit annoyed. And as for charging more, that's actually not necessarily EA and DICE. That's more just every game is going to cost more on next gen consoles. games these days are getting absolutely wild, and they have to. It is a business. They've got to try and make their money back somehow. So, don't expect this is the only game that you'll see that has a bigger price, because I think every game, like the next Call of Duty, will be more expensive. The next, like, God of War will be more expensive. That's just how it's going, pretty much. Was there anything said about SBMM crossplay and the anti-cheat? From what I've seen, it seems like they couldn't talk about them. I can't even see the full name there. I think that's Bing Bong Duck. Thank you very much for the sub, my man. So SBMM they didn't talk about. I actually asked in that interview that I did. I asked about that. Marie said that I don't know. She said there's a lot going into the matchmaking, but she didn't say it's skill. The only two words she said was ping and location, but she said there's a lot going into it. But I specifically asked, like, is there going to be skill-based matchmaking? That's something I really do not want to see. And she didn't say yes, and she didn't even really hint at it, but she did say that there was more going into it than just ping and location. But those are the only two words she said. I'd imagine there won't be, just because, like, there'll be a server browser. You kind of can't have skill-based with a server browser, because you can pick the lobby you want to join, you know what I mean? So I'd imagine it will stay how it has been, which is good. That's how all shooters should be. I don't get the skill base. We're not fucking pro gamers. Like, we don't have to match up against every one of our skill levels. So I don't really want to see that. It's something that I think has ruined Call of Duty a little bit. Don't get me wrong, I still enjoy COD, but it's just not what it used to be, because you play against everyone that is sweating at the same time. And in a way, it's fair. I understand it is fair. It's the fairest way to do it. Everyone's playing against people of their skill level. It is fair, but I don't play games to sweat my dick off every time. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I'm trying to have the best game I can play, but sometimes I just want to jump on with the boys and play a bit of multiplayer, and it's very frustrating when it's in the game. As for the anti-cheat, they did talk about that a little bit in the Q&A section. They said something along the lines of, like, there will be an anti-cheat. They didn't really talk in detail about it. I'm going to make a video on this too. I've got like 20 videos planned, guys. So I'll be able to put my thoughts better into the video, because I can't remember. I've got like a bunch of notes and stuff. So when I make the video, it'll be a bit, like, I'll explain it a little bit better. But pretty much, they said that there's a program that they've, like, entered at EA specifically for this game. So it seems like someone actually externally might be doing the anti-cheat. But they touched on it, and they said that they obviously don't want people cheating. They don't want people to get frustrated at the game and stuff like that. So they are going to touch on that. So can't really confirm it, but there will be some sort of anti-cheat, especially if there's going to be cross-play. That'll suck if there's cheaters and we're on console and you have to play with cheaters on PC. So I think there will be some sort of anti-cheat, but they didn't really touch on it in detail. Where the fuck was I up to? Activision has a lot of work to do if they want to compete with Battlefield. Yeah, I'll tell you right now, this, from what I've seen this, like, year, is Battlefield. Yeah, Call of Duty is not winning this year. They'll sell more. The game will sell more. COD has been the highest selling game ever in terms of, like, in any genre. It's been the highest selling game every year for 12 years, except for the 2 years that Rockstar have released their games. So it doesn't really get beaten in terms of sales, but I'm absolutely certain that this year will be Battlefield's year in terms of which game people look back on and be like, yeah, that game was better. So they got their work cut out for them, that's for sure. Summer says, didn't think I could get any harder for this game, but hearing about the plus system, I just it looks really cool, man. It's like, it looks, so there's certain things I'm still not quite allowed to talk about, so I've got to be very careful about how I go about it. But yeah, from what we saw, like, let's just say you're at a flag on the map where it's really open and most of the gunfights you're getting in are like long range or like mid to long range and you've got an assault rifle, you can put a 3x scope on, you can put a extended barrel, you can put stuff that's got, like a foregrip that helps with recoil. You can put on anything that will help you for like long to mid range gunfights. But then you can also bring a bunch of other stuff with you so that you pick at the start of the game. So you kind of pick your loadout, but instead of just picking one scope, you can pick multiple. And then, so yeah, that can be your loadout. And then let's just say, I see Vic in the chat, let's just say Vic come and freaking picks me up in a chopper. And he says, we're going to this flag. Well, I can, like, change my loadout in the chopper. And it can be at any point. It doesn't have to be in the chopper, but it can just be at any point. I can change the scope. I can put a red dot sight on. Maybe I want to put a suppressor on it, stuff like that. And then when we get to the new spot on the map, when Vic drops me off at this new flag, which is close quarters, I've got a pretty much new gun, even though it's still the same gun, obviously. But you can just customize it. It's the same as Warzone. You can customize them so that they're completely different, like suited for different gunfights, I guess you would say. Where the fuck was that question that I just answered? Oh, that wasn't even a question. A rip. How many vehicles will we have at launch? Like how many tanks? They didn't say that, but they looked in the trailer just alone. There looked to be quite a few. There was like the regular tanks that we saw on the Indian map called Discarded. There was that weird ass looking tank thing on. Fucking what map is it? Breakaway, that ice map where it's going across the ice and it's like a weird looking tank. I feel like there was more. So in typical Battlefield style, I think there'll be like a bunch of vehicles. There'll probably be like multiple of each type. So there'll be like, there's not just one type of chopper. There'll be like Apaches and Little Birds and stuff like that. There may even be like more Black Hawk type choppers where they got like miniguns on the side. I don't really know. We didn't see that, but there'll be a lot of vehicles, I think. Any new multiplayer modes that are coming to the game? So there's one that they didn't talk about, which is kind of frustrating because it sounds like a BR, but they said it's not a BR. It's called Hazard Zone. And the way they described it, it's a high stakes squad based mode. So to me that sounds like Battle Royale, where it's like high stakes, meaning only one team can win, or maybe there's like only 3 winning squads or whatever. And then squad based, obviously, it's not going to be like one team versus the other team. It seems like it'll be squads all versing each other. So it seems like it's going to have some elements of Battle Royale in it, but they said it's not a Battle Royale. So that's really the only new mode we know of right now. There is another one they're going to talk about at EA Play, which again, we don't know anything about that. I think Hazard Zone will be something like Tarkov. That's the picture they showed us, which they didn't even go into the detail of the picture. But looking at the picture, it looked like it was set on Orbital. I'm wondering if it's some type of thing where it's like, it's not a Battle Royale, but maybe, for example, you know how the rocket takes off? Maybe it's like a race to something similar to Plunder, for example, where you've got to collect things. Maybe you go around in squads and you've got to collect like fuel for the rocket, and then one team has to like capture the rocket and take off or some shit. It could be something like that. It seems really similar to a Battle Royale, but it's not a Battle Royale. So I don't know what to make of it. It definitely sounds interesting. It seems like this is their take on a Battle Royale, essentially. Like, kind of the same thing as like Plunder in Warzone. It's like kind of a Battle Royale, but not quite. And same as like Dirty Bomb in Black Ops, for those guys who have played Black Ops. Fireteam Dirty Bomb, that's kind of got that like Plunder / Warzone type feeling to it, but it's not a Battle Royale. That's kind of what this seems like. Isaac Lightning, thank you very much for the sub, my man. Another one. Upgrade. I can't even see that. I need to actually shrink that somehow. I can't. Rip. Whoever that was, thank you very much for the sub. I can't see the names because they're freaking not showing up on the screen properly. Upgrade Play 2 says, how did you become a game changer? Sounds really cool, learning about things before they're officially announced. So, and Vic says very hard work. That's pretty much the answer. I just tried to grow. So it actually started with the Battlefront stuff. That's where like the foundation of it was from. I didn't actually become a game changer for Battlefront, but the work that I did in Battlefront and just like building the community and stuff like that, that was what got me kind of noticed by the devs, because a lot of people have the misconception that like dev companies don't pay attention to their games. They don't watch YouTubers and stuff. They absolutely watch our videos, like every single one of them pretty much. So that was what got me noticed. And then when Squadrons came out, that was when I actually got asked. And then the weird thing is, this like opportunity for the Battlefield stuff, this actually wasn't a game changer thing. This was just a select few people. So that's what's more crazy. This wasn't actually like, I've got mates who are game changers and they do Battlefield content and they didn't get in either. So this was kind of wild. It was like a even more exclusive event, which was crazy that I got picked for it, honestly. Hey, Summers literally just, yeah, something similar to Dirty Bomb. That's kind of how it sounds. It'll be that same, like, almost Battle Royale, but not quite Battle Royale. That's what it seems like it's going to be anyway. Yeah, let me see what questions I missed. I missed The Apprentice. He says, a little specific here, but do you know if the features of the DualSense controllers will be maxed out, like vibration and adaptive triggers? They didn't go into that. I'd imagine they will make the most of that. I don't have a PS5, so I haven't actually really been able to test it out. But knowing Battlefield, they will make the most of any of that cool type of stuff that they can. Like, I'd imagine the vibrations and shit would be pretty awesome. I saw another question I was just about to answer and I've completely missed it. Where was it? Where the hell? Maybe I already answered it. Oh, Bing Bong Duck says, I think Battlefield 2042 took some examples from Black Ops 2. They definitely could have, because although it is set further in the future than that. But yeah, I think there's a lot of things that do seem a little bit similar. A lot of the like chopper designs and stuff. One thing I'll say about the setting is it is way less in the future than I thought it would be. The robot dogs are really the only thing that I saw that I was like, that's a bit futuristic. Some of the chopper designs are a little bit like different looking, but they don't look unrealistic, if that makes sense. So yeah, the setting is like, I was kind of worried it was going to be, I saw leaks of that robot dog and I was like, shit, here we go. This is going to be a bit weird, but honestly, it just seems like it's modern with like just ever so slightly advanced stuff. So like I said, the robot dogs are actually real right now. Like, they're just not that advanced. So everything seemed to be pretty realistic, which is good, because I didn't want it to be some like futuristic like freaking spaceships and shit like that. Do we know how many maps are coming at launch? There are 7. And they have confirmed that there will be more. I don't know when, like, I don't know how long they'll take afterwards, but they have confirmed there'll be more coming in the first year of launch, and obviously past that as well. But the maps that we have, if I can remember the names, there's Kaleidoscope, which is that like Korean city, which is where that tornado happened. That to me looks like one of the most absolutely unreal maps that I have ever seen. There's That's called Kaleidoscope. There was Orbital, which is the one with the rocket on it. Manifest, which is the one in the like shipping container sort of section. There's Breakaway, which a little bit of trivia. If you guys haven't watched the video on the maps, I touched on it in there, but if you haven't seen that, Breakaway was actually revealed to us as Irreversible, and then the day after that, they changed the name of the map. So that snow map was called Irreversible, and now it's called Breakaway. There's one called Renewal, which, again, that was called Borderline, and they changed the name of that. That's the one in Egypt with it's like half grass and half like desert, and that looks absolutely unreal as well. So that's, what have I said, 5. There's Hourglass, which is the one in the trailer where it's like a dust storm and there's the choppers flying around the neon city. That's called Hourglass, and that would have to be the most intriguing map to me. It's fucking enormous, and it's like the city, which is where I'd imagine 90% of the fighting will take place, and then there's like little spots around the place as well. And then the last map, what the fuck am I missing for the last one? I've had 7. I'm actually bamboozled. I think I'm forgetting one. Kaleidoscope, Manifest, Orbital, Hourglass, Breakaway, Renewal. There's one more. What the fuck's the other one? What the hell? No, I said Manifest. What the fuck's the other one? And the other one was sick. I don't know how I'm forgetting it. I remember the one that I am forgetting is awesome. Discarded. That's the one where in the trailer the boat, like the door of the boat collapses. They pull it down. That's set in India, and that one is the least visually pleasing one because it's all brown and like muddy, and the ships are all like rusty and shit. So it doesn't look that nice. But the fucking layout of that map looks absolutely unreal. It's set on the shores of India, and it's like the water levels have changed. So all those ships were kind of pushed onto shore, and now there's like a big boneyard of ships, and it looks crazy, man. I can't wait to play that map. Ballin' like Stalin, welcome. Vic's next question is New York City. Oh, it's not a question, but New York City has robot police dogs. I don't know why or what they do. Yeah, I have seen like the real life robot dogs, and I don't quite get them just yet because they seem like dopey as fuck. To be honest, they don't seem like they really do much, unless they're more advanced than I've seen. I've only seen them walking around and shit, so I don't know. But I've seen a video of one just like walking, and I was like, "What the hell? Like what? What is the point?" I know that a lot of them are made for like, so you don't have to send a human in. Let's just say there's a explosive in the building, they can send them in as like the little, like, I guess diffuser robot in a way. What the hell are you doing, Zali? What are you looking at? Speaking of fucking dogs, yeah. So I think in like the army they're used well, but as terms of, I guess police can use them that same way. But yeah, they're very interesting looking things anyway. Well, they have crossplay for the old gen and PC. They haven't touched on that yet, and that is one thing that I'm worried about. That's like the only real aspect of the game that I'm a bit like worried about. I don't know how they're going to do it. I think that I would be shocked if there's not crossplay, as in like Xbox Series X and PS5. But oh man, I just don't know how they're necessarily going to do it. So I'm a little bit worried. They're going to talk about it soon, they said. So we'll find out eventually. But yeah, I'm just not sure. The only way they can really do it is like if I want to play with my PS4 friends, I can only play 64 player lobbies, for example. Where the hell was up to? Vic says, are they all full scale or a handful of maps for each size? So for a general shooter, they're all full scale. They're all massive maps. The smallest one they said was about. They showed this like graph, which I don't have a picture of, unfortunately, but they had not a graph, but they had like a square of each map showing how big the map was, with a smaller square inside of it comparing it to a previous map. One of the maps was only just bigger than Rotterdam. So there'll be a map in the game that's maybe like 1.5 times Rotterdam, which is still a pretty decent sized map, I would say. I think that I could be wrong, but I feel like that was Orbital, the one with the rocket, or maybe Manifest. Can't really remember, but anyway, some of the maps will be like small for this game, but they're still like, compared to COD, they're fucking like massive still. But then some of the maps, man, there's one map, the Breakaway is called, and the Apprentice just touched on it here. I'll answer that question next, actually, since I'm talking about it. One map is 6 square kilometers, which is nearly the size of Verdansk for anyone who plays Warzone. It's about, I think Verdansk is about 8.5 square kilometers, and this one's 6. So we're talking a map the size of a fucking Battle Royale map, the biggest Battle Royale map that's ever been made. So that's wild. To answer that question, there's one map that's almost 6 kilometers. How are they going to make it so that it's not too big, even with 128 players? They did touch on that. There's this new system, and again, I'm going to make another video on this because it's a pretty big topic. Lars, I can't even see the start of that name. Lars, thank you very much for the sub. So I'm gonna touch on pretty much everything I'm saying in this stream. I'm gonna make an actual full video on, because then I can explain it all a little bit better. There's a new like system in the game called clustering, and so Conquest as we know it isn't quite the same. There are now things called sectors within the map. So essentially clustering is like, and it's been done before, not quite the same as this, but it's been done before. If anyone's played Battlefield 4, you'll know Golmud Railway, where there's the 2 flags up the top and then there's 2 down the bottom. Clustering is essentially putting a bunch of locations in one like area. So there'll be like 3 flags all kind of close to each other. Then somewhere else there'll be 5 flags all close to each other. There's some maps that the Breakaway map looked like it had, I think, like 13 flags or some shit. It was fucking wild. It was absolutely wild. So the way they're combating, like, because obviously a huge map with 120, even with 128 players, you're going to be like, where the fuck is everyone? Because even in Battlefield 5, man, Hamada, like sometimes I feel like I can't find people on that map. Essentially it's just going to be like, there are now like locations on the map, so very rarely you're just going to be out in the fucking middle of nowhere. If you're at one flag, there'll generally be 2 to 3 others near that. So if you're capturing A, for example, like you don't have to then run fucking 2 hours to get to B. There'll be B and C pretty close to it. And so you can just kind of stick in that area if you want, or maybe you capture all those points, then you get a vehicle and go over to D, E, and F, for example, which are all pretty close to each other. They're still pretty far from each other in the grand scheme of things. They're not like right on top of each other, but they've just made it in a way so that it will still feel like Battlefield 5, where like most of the action's all happening in one spot kind of thing. But the map's still absolutely huge. And then so the areas where there's no flags and stuff, that's more I don't know why people would wanna, but if you just want to go ages away and snipe, you can just go out in the middle of fucking nowhere, and then you'll be nowhere near any flags or anything, so there'll probably be no one else out there near you. But then at the same time, it's like, why would you go and do that anyway? So That's how they addressed the size of the maps. I was a bit worried when they said that map was so big. I was like, fuck. Sometimes in Battlefield 5, I can't even find people. And so yeah, I think that will cover it. I think that will fix it. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see. But it just seems like it's gonna be like almost like in Warzone, how there are still things together. So if you land at Superstore, there's like storage and stuff near that. So you kind of have a big area where you go, and they're like clustered together. So that's pretty much the system that they explained, really. All right, where the hell was I up to after that? Vic says, that's crazy. I can't imagine how difficult it must be to design high quality maps that are fun to play and are regionally accurate all the same. Yeah, it made me understand how much goes into map design, because it's more than just like make a cool looking place and it will play well, because it's got to have a flow to it, you know what I mean? So the people who design these maps must be fucking very good at their job. The lack of info is honestly kind of annoying. Everyone's just guessing shit. I kind of agree, but like, there's only been a reveal trailer, so we're finding out there's gameplay stuff on the 13th, which is 2 or 3 days away. It's no different than any reveal. They reveal the look of the game and the setting, and then it's up to us to speculate for a while, and then we start finding out info. So I'd argue we have 10 times the amount of info that I expected to have before this, because this early reveal event, like, we know the specialist system, we know the name of all the maps, we know the setting of the game, stuff like that, as in the lore behind the game, which, considering we've only seen a reveal trailer, that's actually quite a bit of information that we know about the game. How will the specialist levels work? That's something they didn't touch on, actually, and I assume it'll be the same. That's a really good question, actually, because, for example, if you've got 2 medic type of specialists, and one's level 50 and one's level 2, can you use the defib with both of them? Like, that is a very good question. So I don't know how that's going to work. I wonder if there'll be a class level overall where it's just like the 2 medic specialists just level up at the same pace. So if you level up Falk, for example, the other one levels up too. I don't really know how that'll work. When it came to crossplay and progression, they both said there's stuff coming soon. So hopefully they'd touch on that in the gameplay stuff, but I don't know how extensive that is going to be, that reveal. It could just be a trailer, it could be an hour-long sit-down, I have no idea. Do you know the term zerging in Battlefield? I've heard of it. Let me double check that I know what it is. Oops. I think this is... Zerging is when mass hordes of players capture one point and then all rush towards the next one. That's what I thought it was. So, I'll explain that for those who don't know. So, Zerging is like a kind of a nickname for when you have like 20 people that go and capture one flag and then they just run to the next one and overwhelmingly capture that one, and then overwhelmingly capture that one. And there's really no fighting. It's just like rolling around and fucking capturing command posts. Let me get back to where I was. So, what was the actual question? I feel like that might become an issue with the new setup. It could. Although the map is so spread out that I actually don't think it will be, now that I think of it. The maps are going to be so spread out that, like, the way they explained, the way that they wanted to have it set up is like there'll be some flags where there is a quarter of the whole lobby shooting at each other, and then there'll be some maps where it's one squad against another squad, and it's just 4 people versus 4 people. So yeah, it's, I guess in those areas where there's going to be a lot of people, maybe there will be, but I'm not sure if you can really, I'm not sure what they can do to combat that, really. Yeah, Fuji pretty much, yeah. Like, that's kind of what I was leading into there. It kind of just happens, and I don't know if you can necessarily avoid it. I guess with really good map design, you could avoid it. But I don't think it'll be any more. I don't think that's a huge issue in Battlefield currently. It happens every now and then, and those games are kind of annoying, but it's not like a super common thing. So I don't think it'll happen more in this game, but I could be wrong. It's impossible to tell really until we see it. Vic says, couldn't you combat that with a couple jets, just airstrike the whole team? That would be fucking wild. Just seeing like 30 dudes sprinting across the desert and you just fucking drop a bomb on them. That would be so sick. Holy shit. That's my biggest fear for the game, maps just being too big and feeling empty. I'm not sure if you were here, Arafine, for what I just was touching on earlier about the clustering. But I think that will be combated by the way that the maps are designed. I don't think it's like... There's also, if you guys have watched the vehicle video today, there's also another way that vehicles are going to be a lot easier to get. So if you're at this point and you've captured these few flags and there's no enemies there, and you know those points when you've captured a flag and there's no one to fight, so there's no point like defending it, and you want to go somewhere else, it's a lot easier to get a vehicle and just get a car and drive to the other side of the map. So yeah, I think that'll combat it a bit. I do think there will be a lot of dead zones around the map, but they pretty much explained that those areas have been designed for vehicles. So when there's a chopper like chasing a fucking car, they wanted to keep that so that it's not. One issue is a lot of players who don't like vehicles. They get frustrated when there's too many vehicles. So they've kind of designed those areas of the map so that hopefully, if you're in a car and you're running away from a chopper, like you're going to be going out to those areas that are a bit more out of the way rather than in the midst of the battle. And it's all good in theory. Whether it works or not, I have no idea. They're the people that know about map design. I have no idea, to be honest. So, we're gonna have to see how it goes, and that is something that I was a bit worried about too. Just the size of it, because I've said it, even in Battlefield 5, man, Hamada and Panzerstorm are just too big. There's so many times you're just running across the map and it's just boring. So, even before the reveal, that was something I was worried about. But I think that the thing is, I've never had that issue with Battlefield 4, for example. So whether it's something to do with the fact you can get in choppers and stuff, it's a bit easier to get across the map. Because when you think about it, Battlefield 5 only has tanks and cars. There is jets, but like I don't use jets. And you don't really use jets to like transport, you're more fighting in them. So the fact that there's choppers and stuff now will make it a bit easier to get across the map, I think. I never had that issue in Battlefield 4, where the maps are too big. Like, you can always find your way around, so we're just going to have to wait and see, I guess, but I have a feeling that they've accounted for it anyway. Is there a crouch, sprint, and squad reviving? That's honestly what made Battlefield 5 enjoyable. I hope the movement is similar. The movement is one of the best things in Battlefield 5, I think. It's the best it's been. Movement and gunplay in Battlefield 5 is the best it's been in any game in the series, I think. So yeah, I don't see them going away from that. I don't think it'll be like back to clunky type of gameplay, especially because it's a bit more futuristic, and that means that I feel like there might be not so much like there's no like exosuits, for example, but I just feel like the modern setting means generally that there's always better movement and better systems like that. So I can't remember seeing anything in the gameplay that we saw of people crouch sliding, but then again, I may have. I can't really remember. There's one part where Falk, who's the medic specialist, she kind of like runs and gets behind cover quickly. I can't remember if she slid into cover or if she just like got there and ducked, but she didn't like run up and then just duck. So I don't know, maybe I can't really remember, but I think the movement will be fine. I don't think they're gonna like go back on what they've done, kind of thing. It might not be quite as free flowing as Battlefield 5 because Battlefield 5 is a little bit fucking like too much in a way. Like you would slide for like fucking 5 meters. It was a bit too much. I thought it was fun to play, but it looked weird. It felt good, but it looked weird. So maybe they'll tone it down just a little bit, but I don't think they're gonna like just remove sliding and stuff. Sliding's been in the game since Battlefield 4, I'm pretty sure. What the hell was I up to? There we go. As of right now, do you think the game will have a solid, uneventful launch? I do. Everything they talked about, there was no like drama. There was no like no pay to win shit. There was no. They also really didn't like pander in the reveal or the trailer, which is something I was a bit worried about. Obviously, Battlefield 5 was very like, yeah, women empowerment, which nothing wrong with that, but that's not why I buy Battlefield, so I don't really want to see it, to be honest. It's not that I'm against women empowerment, it's just not why I'm fucking playing Battlefield. So I was a little bit worried about like them just pandering to the SJW crowd, and there was nothing in the trailer that made me like, you know, there were women in the trailer. The good thing, the way they did it, it was perfect. There was women in the trailer, but they weren't like a crazy focus where it was like, oh, look at me, we've put women in the game. It was just like, yep, there's a fucking woman, there's also a dude, and that was the perfect way to do it, I thought. So I don't think there's going to be any like drama like there was with Battlefield 5. It's hard to tell, and one thing I am worried about is bugs. DICE have always had this issue. It's to do with the Frostbite engine. They made a really interesting like blog like article about it last year or the year after, year before. The Frostbite engine is absolutely top tier technology, but it's also really temperamental, and it apparently is very hard to work with in terms of the bug side of things. So that's something I'm a little bit worried about with like this fucking scale of this game. If Battlefield 5 and Battlefront 2 were like had bugs, I'm a bit worried about this game. But that's just complete conjecture. Like I haven't seen any bugs in the gameplay or anything, so that's just something I'm more worried about. It's not something that I actually have like seen evidence of or something. But yeah, that's probably the only thing I can see happening at launch where it would be a bit of shambles. But I don't think there's no like loot box shit. There's no like monetary disaster that's going to happen, because the battle pass system, in my opinion, is absolutely perfect, because you guys can buy the game and you can never spend a single cent, and you'll get everything that I get if I spent $100 a week. The only difference is cosmetic things, which don't affect the game. So yeah, my character might look cooler if I spend more money, but that doesn't affect anything. It's just a look, and I can't even see my character. So yeah, I think the battle pass system, it's perfect in Warzone, in my opinion. It maximizes income for them and gives you the complete freedom of, I can spend $1 million on it if I want, or I can spend $0, and it's not that different whichever way I go. So I think it's the best way to set it up, and I don't think there'll be any drama around that at all. They've completely like made it very adamant that everything that changes gameplay is free. There's no paid specialists, no paid weapons, no paid maps. Anything that is gameplay related, so weapons, specialists, gadgets, maps, any of that shit is completely free. And they obviously won't go back on that now. That would be a fucking disaster if they did that. Hey, Wavy, how are you, fella? Do you know if there's any melee weapons? I'd imagine there would be, just going by... I think every Battlefield really has had them. Can't remember if Battlefield 3 had them. I was playing Battlefield 4 yesterday, though, and that had them, so I'd imagine there is. As for secondaries scattered around the map, they didn't touch on that, but... I don't know. They've kind of stuck to that in the last two, but maybe that's because they were not like modern, so there was less customization, so they wanted to have more like aspects of the game. So I'm not really sure, but I wouldn't be counting on it, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see it either. The hell was up to after that one? Fuji says, I read that DICE has no documentation on how Frostbite engine functions, and all of the OG engineers and developers have left a long time ago, so they're kind of just juggling shit. I don't know how true that is, but it wouldn't surprise me a little bit. The blog post that they made, it was something along the lines of that. It was something like the people who created it are no longer there, so they find it hard to like reinvent it. One thing, so they did touch on, this is a new iteration of Frostbite. This is Frostbite 5. That could be a really good thing, or it could be a really bad thing. Being a new version, it could be good because maybe they've flattened out the bugs and the issues with it. Or being a new version, it could be even more fucked because it's bigger and better. So, again, that's really my only like worry, is just the bugs. It's something I'm a bit skeptical about, just because of the size of the game. And just knowing, like, when you look at DICE's track record with... I mean, Battlefield 1 wasn't buggy when that launched. But, like, Battlefield 5 has had a few bugs here and there, and then Battlefront 2 was obviously just completely fucking cooked when it launched. So their track record in their last two releases are just a bit shaky. So I'm definitely a little bit worried, but I'm not expecting it to be buggy. It's more just like, I hope it's not. From what you've played, what Battlefield game does it feel close to? So I haven't actually played it yet. We've seen the gameplay. There is a tech test for specific people next month. I don't think I'll be allowed to do that because it's only Europe and America. So I don't think I'll get to play it early. Maybe unless they do another playtest down the line. So I haven't played it yet. In terms of what it looks like, I think it looks a lot like Battlefield 4 in terms of the gameplay. We only saw a very limited amount of gameplay. And it was like... It was not straight gameplay, like I said earlier in the stream. It was more just like little snippets that they would show like the specialist, and they would show like literally 10 seconds of that specialist, like shooting one person then reviving a teammate, for example. So we didn't really see too much, but there was a few bits in there that I was like, damn, that looks like Battlefield 4. I'm worried that you could equip any weapon on any class, all the tryhards will use the same weapons. That is something that I was a bit skeptical of too when I first heard about that, because I was thinking like, what if there is a meta, and then what if every class just uses the same gun? They made it very clear that balancing is something that they're really going to be focusing on, so I hope that there'll be no clear meta. And I think the way, like, Battlefield never really does have a meta. That Battlefield 5 was a bit, like, it did have a few guns that were kind of OP, but and not to shit on Battlefield 5, I love Battlefield 5, but I'm just going to say it anyway. Battlefield 5 is not a good representation of Battlefield. It's not. It's a good shooter. It's not a good Battlefield game. So I don't even consider Battlefield 5 when I think of like using that as an example, if that makes sense. So yes, Battlefield 5 wasn't the most balanced, but I kind of just like erase that because again, it's not a bad game. I love it. I'm literally playing it mostly at the moment, but this is not necessarily the same as the rest of the Battlefield games, if that makes sense. And the rest of the Battlefield games were all really balanced. There's never been a meta really. Battlefield 4 a little bit, but even then, like you can use any gun in Battlefield, and generally you can do pretty well. So I definitely get what you mean, Rage. It could go badly, but I think they'll balance it out, and it might start a bit shaky because there might be some weapons at the start that are really good. But I also think there'll be more than enough weapons that it'll take like months and months to find the crazy good weapons, and hopefully they get the data early and can fix that. When is the open beta for it? They didn't confirm it. I think they did confirm there is an open beta. Pretty sure they confirmed it. But I don't know when that will be. Really bored of modern shooters, but I'm hoping Battlefield 2042 will be a good product and as enjoyable as Battlefield 1. I'm kind of the same, Fuji. I was actually talking to the boys yesterday about this in the Discord. Modern settings don't really do it for me. It doesn't. They're cool. They have a lot more freedom, but they're like. I like the history behind games. I love World War II settings. I love World War One setting, and Black Ops setting. That's why Black Ops is one of my favorites. That being said, Battlefield just works better in modern settings. And so I think this game is going to be special, man. I think this setting is like the least important part in terms of whether people like it or not. I think it has a big part in the freedom, but I don't think it will hinder the game at all. I think like the modern setting is what is needed, to be honest. Hope the planes are easier to fly than in Battlefield 5. Yeah, not wrong actually. Aerofine is actually the opposite. He's tired of older games and want a futuristic modern game. It's weird. I don't like the modern setting, but when it comes to Battlefield, I am kind of tired of the old setting and I want modern back. So it's weird. I'm bored of the modern setting in every other game, but in Battlefield, I'm not bored of it and I want it. It's really weird. Battlefield just needs that. It needs to have choppers and jets and fucking javelins and shit like that. It just makes the game so much better, I think. Being a hero shooter, Battlefront had some balancing issues, so I'm worried about the specialists. The good thing about the specialists, Owen, is that, so like say with the heroes in Battlefront 2, they've all got different weapons and like they're obviously their health's way higher. They're a bit heroes are a bit different. It's kind of going down that line, a little bit of like a hero system, but it's just I don't think the specialist system will be. I don't think there will necessarily be overpowered specialists and underpowered specialists. I think they're all pretty even because really, you could use the worst specialist in the game, and if you're using one of the better guns, you'll still do really well. So. And I'd imagine they all have the same health. I don't really know. It could be similar to Battlefront, where they have like the heavier type specialists have more health. I don't know. Not too sure. We saw a hovercraft in the trailer, didn't we? I don't know if it was I don't know if you'd call it a hovercraft. I don't know what they're called. It could be a hovercraft. but it's not. It wasn't futuristic. It was like what do you fucking call them? Like they exist now. What the fuck are they called? They got the big fans on the back, and I can't think of the name. I'm having a mental blank. But I think that's what that was. I don't think it was. Let me check. Let me get the trailer up. Hey, we hit 1.3k on the channel, boys. Fuck yeah. Gained about 70 subs since the fucking reveal. That's fucking wild. What was I looking up? The trailer. Oh, so that's kind of what you meant then, Vic, yeah. Is that what they're called? They could be called hovercrafts, even though they're not. The hovercraft I'm thinking of, in Battlefield 4, there was a legitimate hovercraft, or a hover tank, which was like like genuinely futuristic, like Star Wars, as in like Luke's speeder, like it was genuinely hovering. So that's kind of what I thought you meant, but they could be called hovercrafts, like what you're talking about. That's what I mean. I don't know if they, because they kind of do hover a little bit. But yeah, that we did see that, the big fan on the back with the like it's like a the rubbery like blow up boat type of like texture on the bottom. I don't know. I've had like 2 hours of fucking sleep in like 6 months, so I'm having many brain farts. But yeah, is that what they're called? Are they called hovercraft? I'm just gonna Google hovercraft, because if that's what they're called, then that's just another. That's like the tornado. Yeah, that's what they're called. Okay, so just fucking forget everything I just said. Those things are literally called hovercrafts. Okay, I'm just gonna delete the channel at this point. I've just gone on a huge tangent. Like, nah, they're not hovercrafts, bro. They're real. Fuck me. So anyway, to answer your fucking question, Vic, yes, that is a hovercraft. I fucked up. I thought, when I think of hovercraft, I think, you know what I mean? Like Luke's speeder on Tatooine that is genuinely hovering. So, oh, fuck's sake. This just reminds me of the conversation I had with Sam this morning too. If you guys didn't see that in the Discord, me and Sam said the exact word-for-word sentence and meant complete opposite things, and we both made sense. It was so weird. Sam said, he was talking about EA Play, and he said, does Xbox Game Pass come with EA Play? And so I had just woken up, right? So I'll give myself some flack here. I'd just woken up, so I was a bit like all over the place still. And I replied to that message from Sam, which said, does Game Pass come with EA Play? And I replied, nah, other way round. No. Hang on, let me start again. Game Pass comes with EA Play. That's the question he asked. And I was like, nah, bro, other way round. Game Pass comes with EA Play. So I copied the exact sentence that he said and said at the start of it, nah, other way round. But we both made sense. I still can't quite understand it. It was like, it was the weirdest thing ever. I'm going to reread it right now. Where the fuck was it? We both said complete, like literally word for word, exactly the same sentence, meaning the complete opposite thing of each other, and we both made sense. It was fucking mind-blowing. I still don't quite understand it. Let me find it. So yeah, this is word for word. I'm going to read it exactly what it was. So Sam says, wait, does Game Pass come with EA Play? That was his question. I said, other way around. Game Pass comes with EA Play. Like, literally word for word. And then Sturm called it out. And Sturm's like, am I the only one that sees Sammy fucked up and said the exact same thing? And I read it and was like, fuck. I said it backwards. then I read it and was like, no, that still makes sense. Because what it meant was fucking Sam meant, well, I don't know which way Sam meant it, but I read it as Sam saying, if you buy EA Play, does it come with Game Pass? So, like, does Game Pass come with EA Play when you buy it? But I meant, nah, Game Pass comes with EA Play. So when you buy Game Pass, it comes with EA Play. So it was fucking wild, mate. I still don't quite understand it. That is like some, yeah, I don't know. It blew my mind. I was asking if you bought Game Pass. So yeah, so the other thing, that's the weird thing, is that if I didn't read yours the wrong, so essentially I read yours the wrong way around. So I could have said the exact same thing, and instead of saying, nah, other way around, Game Pass comes with EA Play, I could have said, yeah, Game Pass comes with EA Play, and it would have meant the exact same thing. Oh, mate, it was fucking, like, it was so weird. It was so odd. And then me and Sam were just freaking the fuck out about it for like 20 minutes afterwards. We were like, how did that happen? Because, yeah, then, so Sturm called it out, and I was like, I read it back, and I was like, oh, fuck, I've messed up. I said it the wrong way around. Then I realised, no, that makes sense. And then Sam comes in and says, bloody English grammar means Game Pass comes with EA Play, means both if you buy Game Pass, you get EA Play, and if you buy EA Play, you get Xbox Game Pass. It's so fucked, mate. It's so confusing. Anyway, it was one of those you had to be there moments. It's probably very confusing if you're not in the Discord, but that just reminded me of that conversation. I still just don't understand it. English language does not make any sense. Summers. Oh shit. As a dyslexic, that conversation was like mental torture. Anyway, back to the questions, boys. I've just gone on a huge tangent about fucking English. Did you get to see weapon customization? Is it similar to Battlefield 4 or more in depth like Warzone? We didn't get to see it off, like, outside of the game, if that makes sense. It's like in the menus, we didn't see them building weapons, for example. It seems more like it'll be like Battlefield 4, not quite as in depth as Warzone, where they've got like 8 attachments. It seems like there was about 4 to 5, which I think Battlefield 4 has 4. So I'd say it'd be closer to Battlefield 4, to be honest. But yeah, Aerofane, we will get actual attachments. So this isn't like Battlefield 5 where it's like you just pick like the, what are they called, specializations or whatever, where it's, you don't put on a foregrip or whatever. This will be straight attachments. So you can choose your scope, you can choose your fucking ammo type, stuff like that. So it's, yeah, if you played Battlefield 4, it's very similar to that, it looked like. We didn't see it, so I don't actually necessarily know, but yeah, it definitely seemed like Battlefield 4 anyway. Warzone customization is extensive, but let's be honest, who the fuck you... Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's like, don't get me wrong, I think Warzone's, like, what's it called? The Gunsmith? The Gunsmith is one of the coolest, like, integrations into Call of Duty that I've seen, but like you said, most people just use like, there's like 5 attachments that just do well, and no one really there's like 80 fucking attachments and no one uses all of them. So if they scale it down a little bit and it's not quite the same as Warzone, because I know that's going to be a thing, people are going to be like, oh, Warzone did it better, like this is shit, there's only 4 attachments. But if it's scaled down a little bit, I don't think that's bad, because yeah, it's, no one uses half of that shit in Warzone, to be honest. Vic. Oh, shit. I know Vic too well, and I know he did that shit on purpose. Funny fucking bastard you are. Cheeky little fuck. Rage says, I hope EA does some advertising to promote game chat. Chatting with random people in your squad is golden to me. Yeah, I hope that... I'd imagine they'll have... Yeah, they'll have like a voice chat in the game. I hope they do... I'm sure they'll also have that system where you can like ask for the ammo and shit. I don't imagine that goes away. So hopefully they do keep it like very squad based, which seems like that's the go. The vehicles, again, if you guys haven't seen the vehicle video that I put up on this channel this morning, the vehicles are even like more team based. So like if you get in the tank by yourself, you can still do well in the tank. But if you get in the tank with 5 of your mates and they're all playing their role, the tank's going to be way better. So it definitely seems like they're going a bit more team-based and a bit more like strategic even, I guess. Foreskin Whitaker. What am I reading? Oh, shit. Yes, Foreskin Whitaker is in the game. Foreskin Piss Taker. What on earth? How has that evolved? Forrest Whitaker has evolved into Foreskin Piss Taker. What the fuck? And Foreskin Wheat Maker. What the hell is the chat right now, boys? This is wild. Owen says skins and camo price prediction. I don't know if there's gonna be like skins that you buy. They didn't really go into that. I think it'll be because how Warzone does it. Obviously, there's the battle pass, and then there's also you can buy skins. I don't know. I guess there will be. I didn't really think of that, but they didn't really touch on like having. Fucking hell, Wavy. They didn't touch on having other skins that you buy. So I don't know. If I had to guess, if they were there, I'd say $10 to $15. If it's just a skin, maybe I don't know, $8. If it's just a skin, because Warzone does it with like you get camos for your guns and shit like that in the pack, so they're a bit more expensive. They're like $10 to $20, but you get more with it. So I don't know. It's hard to say, but I honestly didn't even really think that was going to be the way that it goes. Fuji says, I admit I am a chat cancer. You are the opposite, Fuji. You fucking... Every time you're in the chat, it is just pumping. You are the barometer of the chat, honestly. When you're in the chat, it's just fire every time. It always ends up getting weird, but it's... it gets fun. I love it. I reckon the vehicle squads were my favourite part of Battlefield 5, particularly Jeeps. Yeah, I think they really are going down that like line of this game just feels like it's made for Battlefield fans, man. It's like everything in the trailer just felt like they're just making a fun game. It doesn't even look like it's being overly serious. They got robot dogs and shit. It just seems like this game is going to be full of those only in Battlefield moments and full of like just fun shit. The tornado sucking you and the boys up and flying you across the map and shit. It's just going to be, yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I like that it hasn't taken itself too seriously. I think that was, well, I won't say that about Battlefield 5 because the fucking chick had a hook hand, so actually I take that back. But say with Battlefield 1, it maybe took the setting a bit too seriously, which is good. It was really immersive, but it was like the moments, there was not quite as many like funny moments. It was more like epic cool moments, if that makes sense. Whereas this game just feels like it's going to be like, hey boys, the tornado's coming, let's jump in it and get our snipers and try and hit a fucking 360 in the tornado and shit. Like, it just seems like they're really going for like a fun vibe rather than like some overly serious game. While it is still serious, it still looks very realistic and like brutal. Like the dude gets stabbed and they take his dog tags and shit. So it's still going to have that element of seriousness, but it just seems like it's way more like built for fun, I guess. Trick shots are going to be insane with the tornado, mate. I can't wait to see what some people are going to do. Some fucking absolutely absurd shit in this game where they're just going to like get in a tank and just like drive headfirst into the tornado, get sucked straight up to the top of it, eject from the fucking tank, do a snipe, and then like get back in the tank and then shoot down a chopper and shit. Like there's going to be some weird shit happening, but it's going to be so sick. It's going to be so sick. I agree, Sam. I think the tornado, that's what I was saying, how I think at the start of the game there could be some issues with bugs. I don't know, it's hard to say, but I feel like the tornado is going to be fucking not well when it starts. I feel like if one thing is going to be broken, it'll be the tornado. I think it'll like pick shit up from like the other side of the map when it's not meant to. Obviously, it'll just where it moves, it'll pick shit up within a X amount of meters radius, but I've got a feeling like that it'll like start on this side of the map and then a tank will get picked up from this side of the map and get sent and shit. So we'll have to see how it goes. But in saying that, if it's not game breaking, that'll be hilarious. Like seeing a tank just like you look to your right and you see a tornado, and then you look to your left and there's just a fucking tank flying through the sky. Like that would be pretty funny. So yeah. I mean, I'm so overly excited for this game. I cannot wait. Most important question regarding the trailer: what the fuck was an ATV doing on the rooftop? That was just I saw a comment and it was like us. What is the quad doing on the roof? And then it was like Battlefield. Yes, it was just like Battlefield always just does such weird shit like that, where there's just like a quad bike on the roof, or like, yeah, just weird shit. All the unexpected deaths from tornado debris is gonna, so when they were explaining the tornado to us, I think his name's Daniel Berlin. He's like I can't remember his title, but he's like one of the senior game devs, and he explained in his first like playtest with the tornado, he was getting sniped at from someone, and the tornado picked up a car and chucked it at and killed the sniper like on a rooftop or some shit. So there's gonna be some cool shit going on. I just cannot wait. The tornado is probably the part of it that's gonna be just every time it happens, everyone's gonna be like so excited to see what weird thing it does this time, kind of thing. Oh, the hiccups. Heard you can literally operate cranes and move containers around. Yeah, so that's hey, I see Nick in the chat. How you doing, fella? He says, "Hello, Samos. How is you? I is good. Nick, how is you?" Yeah. So the Levolution on Manifest, or part of it. I don't know if this is just the Levolution or what. Obviously, it's a container yard, like full of shipping containers. Throughout the match, there will be a crane that is going to pick up the containers and move them, and so the map itself is going to not just look different, but like it'll have a different flow to it. It might block off one area of the map at the start, and then it opens up, and then there's a pathway to get through that area or something. And I don't know, don't take this as confirmed, but I feel like they said you can operate it. So like you can get in the big crane and you can decide how the map's laid out, kind of thing. I don't know if that's confirmed, so take that with a grain of salt. I can't remember if he said that or if he said that it operates itself. I can't remember. I know he said it was automated, so I think it does it itself, but I just can't remember if he said you can also get in there and do that. will we be able to become space rangers by riding the rocket? I'm very interested to see what that rocket has to do. If it's like a part of the map, as in like maybe you have to. The point of the map is to capture that for the longest time or whatever, like in a certain game mode. I don't know if that's going to be the case. They also said about the rocket that it can fail. So there's going to be times when the rocket launches and then maybe it just fucks up and it either explodes or crashes back down onto the map. So yeah, I cannot wait. The Levolution stuff is something I'm really keen to see as well. Megalodon Easter egg gonna get sucked up into the tunnel. Oh mate, imagine that if there is a Megalodon like Easter egg. I feel like there will be. I don't know how many ocean maps. Maybe on the Indian shoreline map there could be one. Anyway, imagine that if like you trigger the Easter egg, so that's happening, but then all of a sudden at the same time, accidentally the fucking tornado comes in and sucks up the Oh mate, that would be so good. Oh my. Just imagine seeing that. Imagine like everyone's crowded around the Megalodon like, yes, we did the Easter egg. And then the tornado just comes along and sucks it up and just fucking sends the Megalodon. Oh, shit. My God. Maybe it's like a press E type situation, meaning the crane and containers have predetermined locations. Yeah, that could be it. I don't imagine it's like literally you can pick it up and just like put it anywhere, but I think like you'll be able to move it to like certain ways, I guess. Wavy says, probably gotten this question already, but do you think there'll be more room / chance for Battlefront 3 once we get Battlefield 6, Battlefield 2042? I've been still calling it Battlefield 6 myself, really weirdly. I want to start this question by saying I don't know, so don't take this as I know, because that because I'm a game changer and shit, people are going to be like, I know something. I know nothing. Jon Snow, but I do think this is just my opinion. I think Battlefield 2042 launches, and I think the devs stay on it for a bit to make sure it's not broken and shit like that. And then I think if we're ever going to get a Battlefront 3, once this game launches, I think Battlefront 3 starts getting developed. That's just my take. I don't know. I'm probably very like biased and very hopeful. So there's a chance we never get it. I don't know. But if they're going to make the game, they're obviously not making it right now because they're all like the devs that we know from Battlefront 2, they are on Battlefield. But it's the same thing that, yeah, when Battlefront 2 ended, they put devs to Battlefield. The same way they can put devs from Battlefield to Battlefront 2. So it's definitely possible, man. I don't want to get anyone's hopes up. I don't want to get my own hopes up. But with how successful Battlefront 2 was, right? It had a shaky launch, all that, had drama. That game was fucking phenomenal by the end of it. I don't care what anyone says. Battlefront 2 was really, really solid by the end of it, and it was very successful. And I just don't think... I don't think it's a smart business decision to not make a third one. You know what I mean? Like, how dumb is that to not make a third one? The second one, everyone loved it. It's like the biggest turnaround in gaming history, I would say. There's been others. I know a lot of people say No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is its own IP. Star Wars is the biggest IP in the world. So I think Battlefront 2 is the biggest turnaround ever, in my opinion. And personally, I just think it is literally a bad business decision to not make a third Battlefront. That's just my take on it. I'm not a businessman. I don't work at EA, so I don't fucking know. But think about how many people played Battlefront 2 and how it had support for 2.5 years when it essentially was never earning money. It had no point in the game where it was earning proper money because they fucked up the monetization. So when they added new skins, I never spent $1. I did, but when they would release like a bunch of new skins, I had a fucking million credits. I just bought it for free. If they released a Battlefront 3 with a proper monetization system like a Battle Pass and shit like that, that would be one of the highest earning EA games of all time, I reckon. So, yeah. Like I said, that's just my take on it. That's just opinion. I don't know. I don't expect it. I'm not like, it's definitely going to happen. But I do think it's very possible. Just purely out of the fact that the game it was so popular without even, like, think of how successful it was without even having any monetization system, really. Like, if this game does well, they're going to be like, okay, well, this did well. The last Battlefront 2, or the last Battlefront sold more than the last Battlefield, so if we do this same shit with Battlefield 2042 and we just do that with Battlefront 3, that's a fucking lot of money they're going to make, and that's a lot of happy fans they're going to make, so I don't know. If they make a Battlefront 3, do you think they'd make a What? I'm so confused. And what era would it be? Well, the second part of that question I actually can answer seriously. I would love to see a Battlefront 3 have like the same shit that it had in Battlefront 2, for example, but with Legends shit. So you don't have to exclude. It doesn't have to be a canon game. I don't get why they have to have things canon. You can have Revan and the Old Republic content and shit. Like, that'd be so sick to just have it be an overall, like, even so. Battlefront 2015, for example, was just the OT. Battlefront 2 was then all Star Wars, right? But it's not all Star Wars because it's just the canon stuff. So then Battlefront 3, your selling point can be, okay, we thought the last game was all of Star Wars, but we missed a key element, which is Legends. This game is all of Star Wars, and they could have everything in there. Yeah. That's the selling point I would have, to be honest. Because they can't really just they can't sell it again as like all three eras, because that already was in Battlefront 2, you know what I mean? Would they also make a Battlefield 5 if they... Fucking hell. I mean, a Battlefront 5. My god. Wavy says, I feel like I'll end up going off Star Wars if there isn't a Battlefront 3. I have gone on and off it. Battlefront 2 is the reason I got into Star Wars, so it'd be sad to not. Yeah, I don't know. I just think it'd be dumb to not have one. It's just dumb to me. Yeah, that's the other thing. They could add Mandalorian content and stuff. But for example, like, I don't think Mandalorian content is enough to sell the game as like what's different. You know what I mean? They have to have something different, because let's just say they release Battlefront 2 but with Mando content. That's not like, people are just going to be like, oh, this is just Battlefront 2.1. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a small addition. Whereas Legends content is like, there's so much that it's like, okay, this is Battlefront 3. You know what I mean? But yeah, I definitely agree. I would love to see Mando content. Battlefront 2 is so massive, but a tiny bit unpolished. Yeah, it's kind of put it in a tough situation, hasn't it? Because that game was meant to be everything. So now there's not really, like, yeah, there's just not really a selling point that we can see. Because and the thing is, they didn't stick with the game and finish it. They didn't add Mando. They didn't add Ahsoka and shit like that. So yeah, it's going to be hard to sell it. It's not going to be hard to sell it. It's going to be hard to have a difference, I guess. But honestly, if they just come out and said, we're making Battlefront 3 and it's literally just all three eras again, I would be like, yep. I don't give a fuck if it's just prequels. I wouldn't give the first fuck what it is. If you release a game called Battlefront 3, I would pre-order it the absolute second it's live. Like, I don't care. I don't even need to see the trailer. I would buy it straight away. It's actually a huge sign, Wavy becoming a Star Wars fan from a video game rather than from a movie. That's the thing. That's like, you'd also think Lucasfilm and Disney would be like, well, it's just more they're making all these books and shows and movies. Make some games, mate. It's the biggest industry. Gaming industry is bigger than the film and music industry combined. So if they focus on movies, why the fuck wouldn't you focus on games? It's bigger. You're gonna get more money. It's that dumb. They need to fucking kick up the ass at Lucasfilm and shit, man. They just need to be like, someone needs to sit down to them and just be like, mate, make as many Star Wars games as you possibly can, because you'll make a fucking lot of money. It's just so obvious what they need to do, and they are going that way. They're opening up the license. It's not like they can pump out 10 games a year, so I understand that they're probably already doing it. It seems like, you know, there's a Ubisoft game, there's like Hunters coming out this year, there's Lego Star Wars. There are more things coming, so they're probably going down that way a little bit, but yeah, they really need to just get it pumping, man. One movie will make a lot of profit quickly when a game supported for 2 years is cheating at life. Yeah, that's the thing. If that's the other thing, they would make more money over a longer period of time too, because the movie comes out and it's out for what, a month, 2 months, and then it's on DVD and shit. It's a very like quick, big amount of money, whereas the gaming industry is more like a long-term, safer type of money. Because if your movie flunks, look at Solo. That movie flunked. They probably didn't get. I think they actually lost money on that movie. Whereas with the game, like if it's flunking, you can still turn it around because it's a long period. You know what I mean? Oops. Where's my phone going off? Fuck you. I'm gonna mute that shit. Remember my first game in Battlefront 2, knew nothing about Star Wars. I was playing Hero Showdown and picked Kylo because he was the character I knew the most about because I watched Force Awakens when I was 10. Damn. Wait, you were 10? When the fuck did that come out? 2014? 2015. Damn. You boys are young as fuck. That always surprised me. You're so mature for your age. Like, at 10, mate, I was a little fucking idiot. Like, so you aren't even, that's only 6 years ago. So it's wild. So you're 16, Wavy. Like, that always surprised me, because at 16 I was a little dipshit. Like, you seem like you actually know what the fuck's going on. Yeah, Vic says at 30 I'm a fucking little idiot. I'm the same. I'm still like, I feel like me and Wavy are like equal ages, but he's like fucking half my age. It is crazy. I think Sam was the one I was most fucking surprised by, how young he is. Because Sam is honestly more mature than I am. And that boy do be young. Well, I'm still a 12-year-old at 22. That's the best way to describe it. I'm a 15-year-old at 25. That's the best way to describe my... It's weird. I'm like really mature in some ways, and then in other ways I'm just like a fucking child. That's weird. Very weird. Anyway, boys, I think I might have to end the stream there. I gotta get these videos done, because I've got... Let me get my calendar up, and I'm gonna tell you guys what is coming. So the vehicle video went up today, obviously. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 more videos in 9 more days. So I've got a video a day until next Sunday. So I've got a lot of work to do. I've got the Plus system video coming tomorrow. I've got a video on the setting, as in the lore behind the setting, coming on Sunday. The gameplay like event is on Monday morning for me, so I'll just make a video on whatever like we learn at that. Hopefully there is something to make a video on. I got a video on the Levolution. I got a video on the modes. I got a video on the Frostbite changes. I got a video on the clustering and the map design that we talked about before. I got a video on the balancing and the matchmaking. I got a video on the speculation of the other specialists. I'm probably going to do a video of the maps in real life and like their locations that they are set in. So as you can tell, I've got a lot of shit to do. I'd love to stream all day, but unfortunately I do need to get some shit done so I can actually go to bed at a reasonable hour tonight, because the last 2 nights, Thursday morning, like when the trailer dropped, I went to bed at 4 and then I woke up at 6:30. So I had 2 hours of sleep yesterday, and then last night I went to bed at midnight and woke up at 6. So I've had 8 hours of sleep since Wednesday morning. So wouldn't mind getting an actual full night of sleep tonight. That would be fucking absolutely unreal. But yeah, that is going to do it. Actually, I'm just going to answer that last question from Muddy, because he just asked that before I started saying I was going to head off. One thing that surprises you at the Game Changer meeting? I mean, fucking all of it. There wasn't really any specific aspect that surprised me specifically. I would probably just say the scale of the game. That's probably the thing that stood out to me. Is like, holy shit, this game is enormous. But yeah, that is going to do it for the stream today, boys and girls. Like I said, I got 9 videos coming. One of those videos is a Star Wars video on the main channel. But yeah, I've got daily uploads from going on from tomorrow until next weekend. So keep your eyes peeled, and then yeah, I'm going to be this is essentially the main channel moving forward, really. I'll be uploading 3 videos a week on this channel and like 1 to 2 on the second channel, or the main channel, second channel. The bigger channel is now the second channel. So yeah, on the Star Wars content, I'll be doing only like 1 to 2 a week. And then on this channel, it'll be 3 a week. So very exciting times ahead, and I cannot wait for to learn some more news about the game and make some more content on the game. But that is going to do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you all very much for tuning in, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.